Hello, 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 and welcome to the Philippines. I am leaving Virgin Island Resort in Daanbantayan, Cebu Island, north of Cebu City, on the north end. And real rough road here, and it did not start out as a good trip. We had some rain last night. This middle area, the cement is very, very rough and uneven. The grass area is very slippery, like right here. Yep, that took care of that. And fortunately, I've been working out a little bit because that Rusi 250 is a heavy bike to lift up. And if everyone who has ridden a bike has had something like that happen, virtually everybody. And this is a really rough road. Now the politicians have told them that they're going to repair this. We just had an election, so lots of promises out there. Same thing has happened in the U.S. I remember when I was younger, politicians, elections coming up. We're going to pave your road out here if you vote for me. So anyway, keeping this going very slow because it is very rough. You really can't get the feel of how rough this road is by this video, I don't think. Down very low speed, just barely going actually in first gear. And difficult to stay on a straight course when you're going that slow. For me, not being a professional motorbike rider with that much experience. Fortunately, I did not break anything on the bike or on my my body. Got a little bit of a sore rib, but that's about it. It's not affecting my riding at all. And you know, this Rusi has a really comfortable seat on it. I've rented smaller motorbikes here in the Philippines 3 times, and those I don't know, skinny seats they have, I don't know how to describe it, but man, after 20 minutes of riding, it's like I got to get off. Just so uncomfortable. And this bike, I can ride for hours, I think, without it being a problem. Now, yesterday I only did 140 kilometers, and that is only about 87 miles, so not very far. But my goal is not to put on a lot of kilometers or miles. My goal is to explore. And I've stopped, I've turned around. I'm going to give this lady time to walk through the water before I go through it. And my goal is to explore. And I do U-turns, I see signs, I see a road that looks interesting, and I go down that road. It might not be anything. In this case, it was a sign out on the road saying Virgin Island Resort. And it's quite a long ways, as you can see. And the road started off pretty good and then got worse and worse and worse and worse. And really, once I got on that really bad part that I just came off of, I really didn't want to. I was a little bit tired from riding. Really didn't want to turn around and go back over there that middle of the afternoon, so I stayed at the Virgin Island Resort. And this is the next morning, and I'm headed back out. I've got to try to remember which direction did I come in on, and this was correct way. And I'm finding that in many cases I might get a little bit of asphalt pavement for a little while once I get off a highway, but oftentimes it immediately turns into a real rough, kind of rocky, coral based road, and it's rough riding. And you go into these puddles and you don't know how deep it is, you don't know how abrupt it is, so it's a little bit tricky. My goal is to go around the circumference, around the outside, stay as close to the sea as I can in many cases, of Cebu Island. And I suspect it will take about 5 days, so this is day 2. And I'm going to go up further north. I'll go up to Maya, which is the port where you get on to go get on a ferry to go over to, or a pump boat, to go over to Malapascua Island. I'll go through Daanbantayan proper, Bogo, which is a northern town. Wait a minute, maybe I already went through Bogo. And then I'll go around. I'll be on the west side of Cebu Island, where the road generally stays pretty close to the sea, and we'll see. I've been hitting a little bit of construction zones, and those construction zones are a little bit of a challenge, real rough areas. You know, they've laid a lot of times maybe one lane road, and they've laid new cement on one lane, but everybody has to share the other lane, and it's got water because you've had rain almost every day or night. But I am enjoying driving out here, out of the city where there's less traffic, getting in some of these little towns, villages. There can be a lot of things going on, a lot of tricycles with carts, passenger cart on the side, what they call tricicad, a bicycle with a cart, or the tricycles and people on bicycles and pedestrians walking in the street, because there are no sidewalks most of the places. You have people in a hurry and people not in a hurry, so you just have to watch people around you. Now, a big question for many people is, where do you want to live? Do you want to live in the province? Province, you know, every place is in a province, and it's like living in a state. You want to live in a state in the United States. Every place is in the province, but when people say, go find a province girl, sir, usually means somebody from outside the city that hasn't seen the big, expensive, nice malls and stores, and perhaps even been had foreign influence, that sort of thing. And so province generally means outside of the city. Now, the Philippines is a small island land-wise. It has a lot of islands, but a lot of those, I think only about 2,000 of them only have names. And you're only going to be concerned with 3, 4, 5, maybe even 11 if you travel a lot, 11 different islands. So it's not that many to be concerned about. But people say, well, it's cheaper living. Generally it is. You can live just a little ways outside of the main cities, outside of Manila, outside of Cebu City, Davao City, Baguio, Iloilo City, Bacolod. And generally rent prices go down if you're renting, or property prices go down depending upon location, if it's a growing tourist area, industrial area, if they have new roads going in, for instance, new freeways, whatever. But anyway, I have experienced a couple of brownouts, or a few brownouts in the city, Cebu City. I've lived here for 7 years, 6 different condominiums. Many of the condominiums have backup generators. Not all 100% backup. Some of the backup generators only handle the elevator and some of the lights in the common areas. One backup generator I stayed at, I think it was Persimmon. Your lights would work, but it wasn't enough power to run the air conditioner. But the brownouts, blackouts, no electric basically, never lasted more than an hour unless there was scheduled maintenance, which happened the first place I lived, and they were off for like 3 different weekends, I think, for about 7 hours during the day, and it got hot real fast, and I got out, walked, went to the mall, whatever. But there are different areas that will have more brownouts than others, and it's something for you to ask about, to investigate. Dumaguete, my observation, my understanding over the years is that Dumaguete gets more than their fair share of brownouts. Now, I don't know if that is still the case, or if they've improved that infrastructure. Something that I've heard over the years. And so if you're living outside, you want to check internet How reliable is it? Is it fast enough for you? How about water? Water is probably the most important thing. There are areas, and we've had a drought 2015 and 2019. There were areas even in Cebu City where people did not have water, and a water truck would come certain day or days during the week, and people would have to get up early, go down there with their containers, hoping that that truck would show up and get some water. Sometimes the taxi drivers tell me sometimes you went there and the truck never showed up. I know there weren't enough what they call deep wells in Cebu City. Now they're planning on a number of things. They're planning on drilling more deep wells, and they're also planning, I think, 4 or 5 different desalination plants over the years in the Cebu City metropolitan area, I believe. You probably saw the sign back there, Maya Port, and that is on the north end of Cebu Island. And that's where you go over to take what's called a banca boat, outrigger boat, not as big as what you would call a ferry boat. So you couldn't put a 4-wheel vehicle on there. Could you put a motorbike on there? Well, some of them might be able to accommodate a motorbike, but not all, I don't think. But they do haul all their food on the island. Most of the food, they don't grow it. Most of their food comes on the smaller islands like Malapascua, comes by banca boat. Well, I saw a sign on my my map app. I used a couple different map apps. I like maps.me is a app I have on my phone, and I used Google Maps for different things when I was looking for. They had more resorts listed, for instance, and a couple other things to consider if you're thinking about living in the province. And just a note, I know many people come here, expats come here. They've met a girl online, could be a guy. Some of the girls met guys, maybe, and they end up visiting her and her family whatever island, whatever area they live on. And many times that's what determines where they're going to end up living. I did not get on the dating sites before I came over here. I did not want a girl and or the family, the situation, to dictate where I was going to live. I wanted to come here and explore and travel a bit, and I thought I was going to use Cebu City as a base and travel out a lot more. Finally, I'm starting to travel a little bit more, and hopefully even to other islands. And hopefully they'll open up with no restrictions here very soon, but I haven't heard any hints of that yet. I am able to travel around Cebu Island. Haven't seen any checkpoints, those types of things, people asking for anything. So anyway, oftentimes you're pretty free to travel within an island, within a province, I think, around the Philippines. Some are more strict, some are less strict. But you want to think about medical access. Now these hospitals outside, and this is an evolving situation. Even a few years ago I read that, I think it was the Bogo Hospital was getting some new higher end equipment, maybe MRI or something like that. But most serious issues, they're going to send you to a hospital in the city, Cebu City, Davao City. Dumaguete has pretty good hospitals, I believe, but just depends on those circumstances. And then food choices. There are a lot of, you have major cities like Davao City, Cebu City, Manila metropolitan area, Angeles City, I guess, and a couple others. Then you have medium-sized cities and towns, and a lot of times they will have a good-sized mall, a Gaisano Mall, a Prince store, and so you have some options. But I know guys that live on other smaller islands that say, well, they process one beef Sunday or early morning, so if you're not there, you're not going to get any beef that week. So they make a trip into Cebu City couple times a month, I think, to pick up things that they can't find on their island out in the province. Now I'm going to get off of this road here shortly. I saw a sign on the map about Nipa huts, a beach in Nipa huts, so I'm going to go check that out. Kind of over on the northeast corner of Cebu Island, and not really sure what it is, if it's a nice beach, if there are other things around there, but we're going to go down that skinny little road and find out what's there. And you can see by the road here, you know, that you know, sometimes you get very good roads. A lot of it is you get asphalt occasionally, but a lot of it is cement. And you don't have the changes in climate, the hot and cold, the summer and winter, so you don't have those stresses on the roads. But over time, the rain and stuff takes its toll, and they need to be replaced. But some places you even have a shoulder on the road like this. But a lot of places there's no shoulder. I mean, there's virtually no place to stop. And there's two gates here.
In 600 meters, turn right.
And talked to the guy, and I got my phone talking to me also. Well, this road goes down to a resort,
Is this the beach?
and the other road,
Huh?
he tells me, takes me to the Nipa huts. It's interesting. A lot of times these security agents work at different places. They really love to have a conversation, and some of them are really good English. And I sat and chatted with that guy 5 or 10 minutes. Real interesting guy. And he was interested in what I was doing, where I was going. Anyway, very rough road. Very rough road. And I think I was on this road going to the resort maybe 3 years ago. I think we went down to the resort, the other road. But anyway, very, very, very rough. And when you hit these puddles, you don't know how deep they are. So it can be a very abrupt drop off, or it can be not so bad. But a lot of times it's like, oh no. And I wasn't sure which way I was going here. In the end, I waited for a lady down here to come up, and I asked her. And the first guy I asked, he kind of motioned for me one way, but then he even stopped and asked that lady walking up the road. And then I asked her, and she told me, yeah, the road to the right will take me there. I ended up going down that road quite a ways, and then boy, you had to park and on a very narrow little spot, and then walk through a bunch of water and stuff. And I thought, I don't want to leave the motorbike and all my luggage out here. So I left there, and I went back to the main road, and I'm asking him, is there a beach around here? And he kind of points down to the right. But he wasn't comfortable with English, that was obvious, and I got that a number of places, and I found a lot of people spoke very good English, communicated very well. But he just kind of flagging me down that way, so that's where I went. I went and looked like there was a little bit of a local beach, a lot of boats parked down there, and a few people out in the water, whether they were swimming or fishing or working on the boats or whatever, just right off here to the left, and then a little bit further down. But anyway, I didn't turn my mapping app off, so it's still trying to tell me where to go. Turn right at next. And I'll go down here a bit, but you're always surprised. You go down these side streets, and what might be down there? It might be a beach, might be a resort. And I went down a lot of roads, turned around, and you know, there might have had a sign. There might have been a resort down there, but it was closed. I would say 80% of the time or more, the place was closed, or if it was open, there was nobody there. Absolutely nobody at the desk or around the area. And so many times I just turned around and left. One place I went into, lady said, well, no key, there's nobody here, there's no key, we can't show you a room. But she asked if I spoke Tagalog, because she understood I didn't speak Visaya. And she was not comfortable with English. She just would say, no key, no key. But anyway, locals are off building. They got the rebar and different things down here. They're building onto their houses or whatever they're doing. It's almost impossible to get away from dogs and roosters and karaoke in the Philippines, unless you live in a metropolitan area or a gated community that has rules about all that type of thing. I've got a friend that lives over, married and lives over, he bought a house over in, I think, Alegria. I think it's named over on Daanbantayan Island. And he said he had to complain a few times. People not supposed to have roosters in there, but people buy a house, buy a lot, and they bring their roosters with them. And it took him a number of complaints to get the roosters out of the neighborhood. But part of the problem too, his wall there on the back of his property backs up to another area where I'm sure they've got all the dogs and roosters and karaoke that you could ever want in your wildest dreams. So one of the reasons I don't make very good time is because I do this. I see a road, I see a sign, I go, what's down there? And I go to investigate, and this is my second day. I did 100 and, well, yesterday, first day, 140 kilometers. Man, I really improved on that today. 149 kilometers. A little over about 90 miles. Pretty close to 90 miles for a day of driving. Anyway, I'm just returning. There was nobody down there. That's one of the places I went down. Absolutely nobody around that resort. And while I was down there, just a few minutes, somebody came and closed the gate on me. So fortunately, all I had to do was open it up and be on my merry way. I did, once I got out on the road and parked, and I went and closed it again. Of course, I respect other people's property. Pack dogs out here once I get out on the road. And I can tell you, you don't want to be approaching most dogs in the Philippines. They are not aggressive, but they're also not friendly, especially if they're in a pack. It just takes one to instigate something, and there was one in this pack. The rest of them, they kind of walked by me, didn't pay any attention to me, but there was one, and he was limping. I think he's mad. He thinks I might have been the one that ran into him. And he's limping, he's looking at me and barking at me, and I'm hoping that he's not calling his buddies to come and join and see what kind of harm they can do to me. Pay some motorbike for the damage that was done to his leg. I've stopped in a number of province hospitals over the years, and they tell me animal bites is the biggest thing they see there. So dog bites, cat bites, cats also. You know, I love animals, but they look friendly, and you go down to approach them, and they'll start barking. They're afraid of you. They don't know what your intentions are. And see, he's limping. He's mad. He thinks I might have been the one that run into him. So just stay away from the animals, unless they are friendly. I've got a friend who has a dog, and most dogs like me. I've had a lot of people say, geez, our dog will never approach or be friendly with a stranger, but he's friendly with you. I've had that happen so many times over the years, but my friend has a little, not sure what it is, a mix of something, a little yipping dog, and every time I come, man, he just goes nuts, and trying to scare me away or what? I don't know. But I generally, anymore, I've learned early on, just stay away from the animals, because generally they are not friendly. A lot of the animals, the dogs and the cats, well, you see them and they're somebody's pet. You can see maybe they have a collar on them, or they're hanging around one area all the time. but they've got, you can tell they've got some skin disease, different things. You don't, you know, there's a lot of itching and scratching and biting and on themselves, and so you don't want to pick up whatever they have as well. You know, some kind of a skin disease or something, some kind of fleas that you can get, other bugs. I'm on the west side of Cebu Island now, and there are a lot of signs, resort, such and such resort this way or off in the other direction. And this motorbike, it idles pretty slow, so if I don't give it proper gas when I try to accelerate, a lot of times it'll kill. Like there, I had to start it up. Starts up easy enough. I replaced the battery in it about a month ago, I think. Found a battery that would fit. And anyway, this is a case there again. The road is not, it's worse than what it looks like, put it that way. It's pretty rough. And my GoPro camera, GoPro 9 Black, it stabilizes. The image stabilization is really good, so you don't see so much jerking that's going on. Anyway, there's a resort right up here, and it was an expensive resort. I think several thousand in there. And anyway, it was still middle of the day, and I was not ready to shut down, and I wasn't going to spend that much money. I just need, at the end of the day, before it gets dark, I need a bed, a shower, and food. Not much else. Internet, hopefully. I can use my phone, data on my phone. Some places for my data link. Number of places. It was too weak for me to use. I was actually looking for a restaurant, someplace to get something to eat, and I asked this guy, I said, "Do you have food in there?" Food.
Hello.
And he didn't really understand what I was looking for. So anyway, I went in and parked and talked to, I don't know, some lady came out. Some lady came out and talked to me, and I said, "Well, can I look around a little bit, take some video?" She said, "Sure. Have fun." So that's what I did. Looks like a pretty nice place, and I did not, you know, I was kind of dirty. My pants, my shoes were dirty from getting on and off the bike, and I didn't want to ask to review these things. The day was the day was getting pretty long, even though I think it was around noon, 1 o'clock. So I was not wasting time. I was exploring a lot. I was using my time up. And so I wanted to go and check out the place. This place is called Beach Dream Hideaway. Looks like a real clean place, well kept up. I think they've got 6 rooms total. And I'm gonna meet the owner. And forgive me if I get the name wrong. I think he said his name was Andy, but not absolutely positive, but had a little chat with him. He had lived and worked in Illinois, USA for a number of years, and so we had interestingly, he's got some interesting decor back in here, but he did not have guest present. I think if people would reserve in there, he would have something set up for food and stuff, but at the present time, he wasn't set up to serve food. He's got the tables and everything, so maybe he does more event type things. But nice little beach area down there. They have a gate that opens up there. And this is the type of thing you find with a lot of these beach resorts. You've got some access to the beach in different areas of the Philippines. You will have different types of beaches. You have Pebble Beach. I think there was one area I come across called Pebble Beach. Man, there's a lot of pebbles out there. You've got some areas that even Mole Bowl, they've got 2 beaches. They've got White Beach, which is pretty much a white sand beach, but once you get off the beach itself, once you get into the water, in many of the places it's a little rocky. And Second Beach, that's mostly a little bit rocky. But worth going there to watch the sardines, and you can see where Lighter color, that's the shallower water. Then you get deeper water where it gets darker out there. Let me back up just a bit to Daanbantayan. And Bantayan Island is off in the distance, a very popular place, but Daanbantayan, a big province on the north end of Cebu Island, has its own white beach. Pretty nice long stretch with a number of resorts along there. Back in 2020, I did a video, stayed at a resort up here, and you can check that out as well. Anyway, really nice, as you can see. Just amazing white sand beach up here. And it doesn't get very much publicity as far as I can tell. And I'd kind of heard a little bit about it and had checked it out a couple of years ago and decided, I think we went to Malapascua, took a trip there, and when we came back I said, I want to go see Daanbantayan. And it's got it's a little city there. It's got its market and retail downtown area, churches, all that sort of thing. Got a pretty old church up there, like many places do, historical churches from back in the 1800s, I guess, or earlier. But definitely worth checking out. You know, we all have different ideas of what a good vacation is, what a good trip is, and some people want to go to exotic places, some people want the beach, some people want the mountains. So I'm going to speed up. I just turned off the road and I'm going down, going around a side road, I guess you call it, and I'm looking for, I believe it's, I found a resort online that was reasonably priced. I think 1,100, I think, 1,100, about 20 US dollars. And decided to go down there and check it out. Read a couple reviews, mixed reviews, but anyway, I am tired. It's getting, I don't want to continue driving, and it'll get dark, and I don't like to drive in the dark. But anyway, we're going to go down here quite a ways, and I'm going to find something to eat, a place to sleep, a place to take a shower, and I think the name of the resort was Coco Resort, something like that, Coco Beach Resort. And anyway, it turns out my friend from Cebu, he married a girl from Asturias, and he called me while I was there. He said he lives up above me several floors, as a matter of fact, chiropractor guy, Australian, and he said, hey, you want to get together tonight? We'll come down, I'll buy a couple beers and I'll come down, or you can come up. And I said, well, I'm here in Asturias. And he said you should have told us. We were just there today. But I actually didn't know I was going to get that far today, and they were already back in Cebu City. They worked, they had office hours the following day, so they had to be back. But I think they had a wedding reception here a number of years ago, something like that. Because when he called me, I was on speakerphone with them, and big property, large property. And what I suggest when you decide to go someplace, lady came out and met me, and she said, oh, the rooms are 1,800, I think she said. And I said, well, they're only listed for, I think, 1,100 online. Will you match that price? No, they're 1,800. So I got online. I was able to get online. It took me a couple attempts because of the internet wasn't very good out there with my data on my phone. But I booked it online and went through within about 10 minutes. Went through. They got the information, and so I got the room for, I believe it was 1,100. There's a store off in the distance that had some snacks and stuff, so I bought. I thought that was going to be my meal, a bag of chips, and then somebody said, well, there's food over there, sir. So I walked down by the beach and over to this place and talked to these.
Say hello to the world.
I have a YouTube channel called Amazing Philippines.
Wow, Amazing Philippines.
Amazing Philippines.
You subscribe.
So maybe in 1 week you'll be famous.
Wow! I love that. I will search that.
You want to give out your phone number so all the boys will call you?
Phone number.
Give your phone number.
No. All right.
Okay.
I'm staying at this whole resort, but nobody has any food, so maybe they have food here. Do they have food? Yeah, no, just only this. Here they have food. Another reason to love the Philippines. Such friendly people. You know, if you're friendly to them first, they're usually friendly back. If you don't say anything, they don't know. They don't know if you speak English, what language you speak, what country you come from. I say hello to a lot of people, and it's good for my mental health, and I think it's good for them. And we are, you know, I don't want to get off on a sermon. You know, we give the impression of the expats, whether we're welcome or not, and by being friendly. I thought that was going to be my meal. I am so glad I found some chicken something, and they were pretty good. They're breaded breast of chicken type things, and they were actually pretty good, and a lot more than I needed, as a matter of fact. Now, there are always dogs that understand. They know where to get their meal from, put it that way, and they're always around just about any place you go. Once you get your meal, the dogs will show up. Anyway, it's going to be it for today. I will continue on tomorrow. Thanks for coming along. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.